So, today's conversation will be about I'm so glad I reconnected with the crybaby in me. Don't think I'm weird. I just like to watch. But I am so glad that I did that. As I recall the time that I was told you need to grow a backbone because of all the times that I would cry after being yelled at, and whatever the case may be, just knowing that I was emotional until I wasn't, which lasted for a very long time. And to be honest, I never stopped. It never stopped, it never ceased. It just became easier to mask. But was it really easy? No, it wasn't. Because guess what? It was always there. It was always there. It was always there. It's just when you're told that or you're taught that, then what becomes easy? What do they call that? What's that word? Suppression? That becomes easier. OMG. Okay. I thought I was just going to be talking. But look at what I did the other day. Cool, right? Yeah, I know. I know it's cool. No, I really do love. I love art. So bad. So damn bad. Today is a retwist talk. Retwist talk. But I may not talk the whole time that I'm doing the retwist. So keep that in mind. I'm not gonna. Well, actually, this is for me mostly. Look, I don't put my hair up like that, okay? I don't. I had it up this week though for my little green outfit. Yeah, gotta love that. Gotta love that look. I don't have my clips. So this is gonna be a loose retwist, but I'm okay with that. Very okay with that. Because I love the puffiness. I honestly have this scent here too because I'm trying to have it get all up in here. If possible. But I'm so glad I reconnected with that part of myself, or I stopped pretending as if it wasn't there. And if anything, that's what I mean when I say I'm just so sick of pretending. That's what I mean. I'm done pretending as if, or pretending like I'm not there. You know how you pretend that someone isn't there when it's awkward or there's this uncomfortable tension or energy when you're around someone new, for instance, or a stranger. Like, it can be uncomfortable. So what are you saying? You made yourself a stranger? You've been a stranger to yourself? I think that's interesting. But not interesting. It's familiar. It's familiar. Because that's exactly what I did. And in those situations, it depends on who you are. It depends on the true essence of yourself. What I'm talking about, or the true nature of yourself. Like, what do you tend to do naturally? Do you tend to love solitude, or do you actually tend to love connecting with people? And for me personally, there's a mix. However, connecting with people is something that I feel like, no, it's something that I know that I would deny myself the ability to do, or prejudge things. The prejudgment of people, the prejudgment of things, because of a knowing. And sometimes that knowing is correct, and sometimes you have to just allow yourself to be, and you have to allow things to marinate, and you have to see what is before you assume. Assumption. It can be an enemy. It can be an enemy. Disguised as intuition. Perhaps it's just me saying, I recognize that I have to try more for myself rather than just hearing it, just knowing it and being like, even in the moment, being like, okay, are we judging the situation before we even see what it's like? Before we give it a try, before we experience something? Are we judging that before we even do that? And why? The whys. The domino of whys. You know, tiptoe, tiptoe. Mm-hmm. Or the stare, the why stare. I don't know. Doing that. But really, I would say it's what's happened as of recent for me that's created this deeper understanding. Or me doing things that I don't usually do, or me initiating conversation with people, which there are times when it's not quote unquote hard. Or there are times where I just really don't have a problem with doing that, especially since usually it's instructed socialization. Like, we're told to, okay, talk with these people about this. Discussion. This is time for discussion. In those instances, it's easy. And as to not cause tension due to maybe not wanting to be social, it becomes easy. And I recall times where I was not like that. So I've definitely grown in that aspect of things. Sometimes you don't want to say anything, and it's not for a reason, or it's not because of a prejudgment. It's just you have nothing to contribute at that time, or things haven't hit you in the way that they've hit other people. So what are you doing? You're consuming the information of others. And that does not have to be a quote unquote good or bad thing. It just is. You're taking in information, you're consuming information rather than giving it, or you're listening to the opinions of others, and not in a way where you're listening and changing because of it. No, you're listening because perhaps the thinking of what your own are, for one, is under a time constraint, or for two, you don't know. And sometimes you're uninformed, and perhaps people outside of yourself can inform you on these things, or different forms of content. different topics. People do inform you, people can be messengers. And that's another thing that I want to talk about. I met my messenger yesterday. And I loved it. I loved everything about that interaction. Everything about that interaction. When you meet someone and you feel as if you've known them before, or when you meet someone and there's an instant understanding of who they are, when you meet someone and you look in their eyes and you know, like you just know, this person is the truth. When you recognize someone because you recognize that within yourself. Because people are reflections of you. Like I may be a reflection of you, or you may be a reflection of me. People remind you of yourself. You will be reminded by people all the time. And that is a reminder of self. When you go out into the world, when you step out of your room, when you step out of your house and you see people, in some way, shape, or form, that person is a reflection of something. And rarely do I meet people who, okay, we start this conversation off and it's surface, but not in a fake way. It's just surface. I don't know you, but I'm commenting on something about you. It's so interesting how sometimes you go from that and then you go straight into a conversation where it's like, oh, you sensed that in me, didn't you? Because if you didn't sense this in me, you would not be comfortable, or hey, that could be an assumption too, but you would think, okay, this person would not be comfortable with talking to me about that right away, and this is your first time meeting me. The conversation was highly spiritual. Highly spiritual. Highly faith-based. And that's a topic that I don't get into with people. I apologize. But yeah, that's a conversation that I don't get into with people, or I don't share that with them for real. And for you to recognize me and recognize that it would be okay, or that this space, the energy was safe to we're just gonna go right into that. I was ecstatic at that fact, because I never, for one, it's the way in which I connect with people, or the lack thereof, really. Yeah, it's the lack thereof. It's not as if I haven't shared anything. It's that I'm not prone to sharing. I don't usually do that. So when she began, like, I know she could see it on my face. I lit up. And as she continued speaking and she continued the message as my messenger, because that's what I told her. I'm like, you're my messenger. As she continued explaining everything, she's just talking. I'm like, you're clarifying some things that I already know, that I've had an inner knowing of. You are articulating things that I've never articulated to someone before, other than myself. except you're giving me the other side of things that I don't know, with which I want to get into, with which I want to learn more about. You're telling me about that, but you're also speaking my language. I loved that. I love that so much. To have things that you know clarified, to have things that you haven't talked about to people, like specific things that you've been saying to yourself, repeated to you through another person. In an instance like that, in an instance where you would be like, what a coincidence. In a coincidental instance, it was lovely. And it's made me think about how many times in this past month I've spoken to people and absolutely loved the interaction. Even if it wasn't as deep as this one was, I've absolutely loved the interaction because I'm sharing with people. Or an aspect of me is being seen to an extent. No, it's being seen. It's being seen. Because to even have that conversation, it takes being seen, it takes being recognized. Recognizing that kind of essence of you. And it was so surprising to have that kind of recognition. I didn't even think about it in that way, but yet I did, because I reacted in a way as if I'm surprised that you see that in me. And not necessarily as if I'm surprised that that's in me, or I'm surprised that people see me. It's when it's never happened before, but you recognize you, like you know you, and you know that that's in you, it's one thing. And when you don't receive that kind of recognition on a daily basis, when it happens, it's like, oh my God, oh my God. You can see me? I'm not invisible? You can see that part of me? Or you have the sight that I have, as in you read between the lines of people, or you see people. We had a conversation about judgment of people. And in many instances, I am the listener. Even as I listen to people, sometimes I feel like I even know what you're about to say. And I'm listening, and it's as if this is the reminder of what you already know. And I said that as well. The talking about how it's not the easiest thing to not judge people, but once you reach a certain point, it's like, there's more to this person, and there's more to what they're doing. There's a deeper meaning to everything. You know, it's gotten to the point where I can't even joke about certain things because I take it seriously. And it's not, I'm not a person, I'm not a friend with which jokes are not a thing. That is not me. However, don't expect for you to talk to me about something. Don't expect for you to be real with me and for me not to be real with you. I'm done with that. I'm done with acting. I'm done with pretending. I don't like that shit. I'm not an actor. I'm not an actor. And it's not to say that I can't play the role. I'm not an actor, though. Why am I acting in this body instead of just being? That's a question that I have for myself, and that's a question that I have for people. Why are you acting? Pretending? The fuck are you pretending for? You already know. Like, you know you. And maybe you forgot, but you know. You remind yourself every day. It's the little things. Pay attention to subtle things. You remind yourself every day. You just have to pay attention. But as I was saying, don't tell me. And perhaps this is because I can pick up on the lies of others. See, when you become someone... No. I'll rephrase that. When you're someone who knows the life, who's lived the life of liar to self, which is pretty straightforward. You've lived through a period in which you've lied to yourself. Maybe it's about who you are, maybe it's about who you like, maybe it's about what you like and what you do not like to do. Maybe you have people-pleasing aspects to yourself. I don't know. I mean, I know what it is for me. It's a few of those things mixed together in a little bowl, little soup. Soup. Not like soup. But maybe it's that. I am not going to not take it seriously. I'll allow you a little bit. But when you start speaking the truth that you're denying, I'm gonna look at you. And you're not gonna like the way I look at you. I'm gonna smile at you. It's gonna be an awkward smile. And not because I'm judging you, but it's because I'm looking at myself in you. Or I'm looking at how. That's an aspect of me right there. And I cannot take it in a humorous way because I care. And it's not my responsibility. I'm not doing things where I'm overextending myself. It's more so, I'm not gonna act with you. I can't. And if you don't want to be around me because I'm not gonna act with you, shit. The reason why I feel as if I can say this is because it's been done to me. And not done to me, it's just a mutual thing. It was a mutual thing. The instance where you're going through things with yourself. You're literally fighting yourself. You're not on your own team. And because you're not on your own team, you can't be on this person's team. Because you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting someone else. The lesson of that is extreme. And I'm somebody where, of course, I'm going to think of my hurt. Of course, I'm going to think about how I'm hurt about something. But I cannot, for the life of me, not think about how I'm affecting somebody else after the fact. I can let it go. I can feel through it. You feel through it, but it's just a form of endless care. It never goes away. And it's not the same feeling. It's not the same feelings. It's in my time, at a time where I was not with me. I was not on board with me. I was going through things. Really going through things. Internal, so many internal battles. And resistance to other people, resistance to vulnerability. You learn the lesson. When people leave, you grieve and you learn a lesson. And that lesson turns into many lessons. That one lesson has sub-lessons under it. Or perhaps it was never just one lesson. Perhaps it was supposed to be many lessons for you to learn and for you to grow. To grow in a way that you couldn't in the process of things. It's not to say that you never grow. It's to say maybe that was not meant for you at that time or never. Reflection. Everything calls in reflection. To reflect on who you were, then to reflect on who you are now, and to reflect and then to think, who do I want to be? How do I create that reality for myself? Why do I want that? And to also recognize that the things that you want are probably not things that you want. To ask yourself questions about what you want out of this life and why. Like, really get into the nitty gritty of everything. Why do I want that? Trace back things. Look at yourself. Use the third person lens to look at yourself and really question some things. Question all things. Question relationships. And a relationship is not just a romantic relationship. I'm talking friendships, the relationship that you have with your pets, the relationship that you have with the world, the relationship that you have with nature. Question it all. I'm not saying be a skeptic. I'm saying think, feel, truly. to think and feel truly, to truly reflect. How do you feel about what's going on right now? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you feel connected by it? Is it fulfilling? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be honest. We're not going to always like the truth, and the truth is something that we may even avoid in trying to seek the truth. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with this answer because, I want it to be this, but right now it's not. Stop. Stop that. You stop that now. I would know. I would know. This video is 31 minutes long. I think I'm gonna cut it out. No, but for real. I will be leaving. We'll be leaving. This is Rose and something else. Patchouli? Patchouli? Are we pronouncing it right, chat? This is what it is. Smells wonderful. I love rose scented things. And I love woody. I love the mix of rose and woody scents. Just, But anyways, it's enough speaking for now. It's enough speaking. Yet I know I'm going to continue talking to myself about this. And I also need to write. See, all of this that I just spoke could have went into my journal. But the things with which I did not get to will go in there. Definitely will go in there. Toodaloo. Wow. Look at this. It's cute. It's actually kind of cute.